All right! I love the future!
I run a company called the Fungus Federation Limited. We've been operating for 4 years now.
That was a good segue, by the way. That's a great segue.
I incorporated the company in June of 2016. We've been running workshops on cultivation of gourmet mushrooms from urban and industrial waste products. I have some little examples here in my bag of
Okay, before you open that, I got a few questions. I just wanna
we'll put that one away for now.
Because I heard that you were going overseas and like presenting stuff there too on mushrooms. Like, tell me more about like what you're doing and.
So in 2017, like I said, I went to America.
Yeah.
I played 3 shows in Colorado, which was fucking awesome.
Cool.
Up in the hills at 10,000 feet, dude. Holy fuck, man. I'd wake up in the morning and be like, oh fuck, what the fuck?
Really? From the altitude? Like,
yeah, dude,
wow,
it's crazy.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, and like when you drink up there, you get real drunk. But then like when you come down, you have this ridiculous tolerance to alcohol when you come down to the lowlands. Yeah.
Buzzy.
It's weird. It's so weird.
That's crazy, bro. And what's it like singing at high altitude?
It's great, actually.
Like, can you notice a difference though? Like,
It's hard
I've
to
never
to say. I
wondered.
didn't spend enough time up there.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I was up there for a month, so like, you know, I mean, I definitely noticed when I woke up in the morning and I was like,
right, okay. So you were doing some shows up there, and you were doing some stuff with mushrooms?
No, the month before I'd gone to Australia, so like that was the first time that I left New Zealand as an adult on my own without my family.
Right.
You know, I spent like, I went on a couple of trips to Australia when I was like 13. My dad lived over there for a while.
Your dad lives there now?
No. He lives in Wellington.
Right, okay.
And I went to Fiji once when I was a kid with my family, but I'd never really left New Zealand as an adult on my own.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to Australia with my partner at the time, Nikki, and we hosted 2 workshops in Australia. They were definitely the most profitable and successful. We had 10 people in each workshop.
Cool.
And it was very successful, yeah. I worked with a guy called John Seed, who has apparently done...
Is that his real name?
Yeah, John Seed.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he goes by. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, look him up on the internet, dude. Do some reading on him. Apparently, he has done, like, more for our world's ecosystems than anybody else on the planet.
Wow.
I don't know if this is actually true, but this is the hearsay that I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not even coming from him. It's coming from other people.
No, not from him, no.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because Nikki did some research on him. Yeah.
Okay, and like, so what was the workshop on though?
Cultivation of gourmet mushrooms from urban and industrial waste products. You know, so like using lawn clippings or coffee grounds, tea bags to grow edible mushrooms. So converting waste into high value, protein-rich, mineral-dense food products.
Wow, that's incredible. Could we do that with like a lot of the waste food? Like if it wasn't, say, going to pigs, like could we be doing that? Or
that's a bit harder because it's very nitrogen rich.
Okay.
And
so you need
fungi
what?
grow on like carbon-based materials.
Okay.
So like
dead humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be good.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
I've actually chucked some of my hair and fingernails into one of my cultures, and it started eating my hair and fingernails.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, oh, cool. Maybe this thing will eat me when I die. Fuck yeah.
Is that what you would do?
Hell yeah. Bury me in a fungal coffin. There's a company making fungal burial suits.
Really?
Serious. Yeah, because there's a massive problem with the formaldehyde that they use to preserve the bodies. Like, people's bodies are they're not breaking down. It's like,
totally,
it's like Egypt all over again, except like done with like way worse chemicals.
Wait, is the formaldehyde from like a process after someone does, or is from what we eat during our lives?
Remember. It's like you know when they preserve bodies for the funeral?
Yeah. Oh, really? They use formaldehyde on the skin or whatever?
I think some other nasty chemical.
Really?
That like preserves the body.
So that we're presentable in the coffin.
Yeah.
They kind of do
but
something
then, like,
to us.
they bury them in a wooden box. It's tantalized. You know, so
that
like
too, right?
That doesn't break down too well either, and it contaminates the soil when it does, and then all the crap coming out of the body. And I mean, shit, we eat so many preservatives these days.
That's what
anyway.
I was thinking, right? Yeah. I swear, I left a McDonald's hamburger like under my seat in my car for a whole year. I shit you not. I opened it up. It was fine.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
Microwave.
Yeah, it looked so great. I probably could have eaten it. It probably would have been fine. I don't even want to, obviously, because like common sense, but it looked 100%.
Oh, yo, you know what I was saying about having no body fat?
Yeah.
When I was 17, I worked for McDonald's. And that's the only time I ever put on weight,
Wow.
dude. I actually got a bit chubby. Yeah.
Were you eating a lot of McDonald's?
Yeah, every day, dude. I got free McDonald's every day.
That might not necessarily have been like fat,
No, it's
fat.
a carbohydrate.
Well, it's also a protective mechanism. Your body like gets like a whole layer of like protection around you. Yeah, basically it's inflammation.
Inflammation,
your
true.
body, yeah, like it's not necessarily just like healthy fat. Because you get two different kinds of fat. You get the brown fat and like white fat.
Adipose
and they're kind of
tissue.
Yeah, that's it.
I
don't remember which one. I was like studying up on the Wim Hof method, and he's talking about his like brown fat, that he's got like more brown fat and stuff. And
adipose tissue is in between the organs is really bad.
That's it.
So like if you see people with like the big pot belly, that's not actually like, it's not surface skin fat, it's fat between the organs, and that can cause like some terrible diseases, really bad.
So I read somewhere that that's actually like a inflammatory response to stresses.
Too much sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
So like sugar in the body, like it gets converted into glycogen, first and foremost, which is like triglyceride or something like that.
Kind of sounds like stuff they use to make bombs.
Yeah. And then that gets stored in the muscles. And then when the glycogen stores get filled up, the body starts storing, I think it starts storing it as fat in the surface skin, but also between the organs. But then like eventually like it can cause fatty liver disease, too much sugar. Where like fat globules literally start building up in your liver.
Yeah, it's scary, dude.
It's fucking scary.
So scary. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, sugar is delicious, but it's the fucking devil. I swear to God.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm no saint, believe me.
No, me neither, man. Me neither. I had a sugar binge on the weekend.
If you could do one thing to benefit your health, it would be minimizing sugar as much as possible. I've been studying a bit of keto and intermittent fasting, and from what I've learned, carbohydrate is not necessary for existence, period. You do not need any carbohydrate in your diet whatsoever. People say it's a critical fuel source, but it's an absolute lie. It's generated by the food industry.
Well, I just feel like everyone's different too. Everyone's bodies are kind of different, so it's not like black or white.
Glucose,
it does, but your body
ketones.
Yeah, but your liver can create glucose from the glycol backbone of fat. Your body literally manufactures glucose from fat. Okay. Yeah, the brain supposedly uses 2/3 ketones and 1/3 glucose, which it manufactures the ketones and the glucose both from fat.
Yeah.
I'll research that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a, and like apologies to any experts out there.
I'm no expert.
We're not experts,
relaying some stuff that I've learned.
That you've learned, yeah.
Yeah, or
Okay, so speaking of stuff you learned, let's go back to the mushrooms.
All right.
So you've done things in Australia, and now you're home base, building the federation. What's the mission? What's the dream?
The dream, the dream is to get as much land as possible. I mean, I'd like derelict farmland that's been fucking wrecked by bovine agriculture because I want to use fungi to do mycoremediation. It's restorative processes. Fungi produce enzymes that can degrade toxic compounds. You can even train them to produce novel enzymes. I want to try and combat the DDT problem in New Zealand. Our whole country was doused with DDT, which is an extremely toxic poison. It has a very long half-life, so it doesn't break down in the soil very readily. It's bioaccumulative, so it gets soaked up into the plants that you then eat, which then means it goes into your body.
That's horrific, man.
Not to mention glyphosate Roundup.
Yeah, I know.
Safe as table salt.
Oh, dude, we used to collect water from, there was like a spring under Auckland University in the law school. Do you know that spring? Mm-mm. Oh, it's beautiful, man. It was beautiful until until we realized they're spraying glyphosate, weed killer, all on the roads above the thing, and
we just sinks right in.
Yeah, so we emailed Auckland University to ask them about it, and we emailed Watercare because they manage all the springs in Auckland, and they manage them, and if they know about them. This one's pretty popular. It's got like a plaque. It comes out of the wall at the law school, and it's got a plaque on it that tells you where it comes from and the history and everything else. And so we emailed Watercare and Auckland University, and they said, we highly recommend that you do not drink the water, blah, blah, blah. But it's like the water's just coming out.
Oh my God.
And it's like there's taps connected to it and like everything. And we're like, yeah, so glyphosate, man, it's fucking shit, eh?
So basically the dream is I really want to make the world's largest and most diverse food forest. And I want to employ as many people as I can. I want to bring food forestry to every town in New Zealand.
Right.
Because like, you drive from Auckland to Wellington. How many tiny little fucking towns do you drive through that they're derelict almost? There's nothing there. There's not even a fucking shop that you could stop in at.
Yeah.
You know? Like these places used to be booming. You know? Sawmills, agriculture, you know, horticulture. There's nothing there now, and people are leaving them there. They're becoming abandoned. You know, nobody wants to move to these tiny little towns. Why would you? What's there?
Yeah, everyone's clustering in the cities, right?
But because I mean, like, bovine agriculture is destroying the planet. It's the most destructive process. It produces more greenhouse gases than all of our transport systems combined, because methane is like 3 or 4 times more. It captures 3 or 4 times more heat than carbon dioxide.
And the deforestation.
You know, because the trees actually recycle all these things. They breathe them out of the air and they turn them into stored minerals.
Yeah.
And, you know, they capture water and hold it in the environment. I want to bring food forestry to every town in New Zealand so that jobs can be created. Because, like, basically this is a largely self-maintaining food production system. You're planting forests. I don't have to go out into the fucking woods and water it every day.
No, you don't.
You know, nature knows some shit that most of us don't. About, you know, conservation of resources.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and we should be employing those systems.
Yeah, I agree, man. There was, do you know about the case study in China where they brought back an entire desert by planting native trees?
Yep.
I don't know how they started it, because I wonder where the trees got the water in them. Maybe they helped them a little bit.
They would have had to manually water them, but eventually
10 years later,
the trees start to actually retain the water and cycle the moisture.
When the roots go deep enough to.
There's a reason why they call them rainforests.
Right.
The trees, they draw up water. Oh, okay, sorry. Water is exhaled at the leaf, 1 molecule at a time, which creates capillary action. That draws 1 molecule of water in at the root. They're constantly breathing out moisture into the air, which then accumulates and forms clouds. You know, you see steam rising off the forest after it's been raining.
Right.
And that's not evaporation, that's transpiration.
From the trees themselves?
From the trees themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plants, ecosystems control weather systems. Ecosystems control every single process on the planet. So, like, the ecosystem, like the plants themselves, take up 2% of the solar gain that falls on the planet. When an animal eats a plant, it gets 0.2% of that original solar gain.
Yeah,
and then when you eat an animal, you get 0.02% of that energy, that original energy.
Wow.
So plants capture 2% of the solar gain that falls on our planet, but they exert control over 100% of the solar gain through their processes. But through deforestation, we're lost control of our weather systems. You know, we've created these huge open plains. There's nothing to like buffer the wind and the rain. There's nothing to absorb the rain. That's why we're having massive floods. The list goes on. You know, like
we're
I don't know if anyone's ever read the Bible, but you know, we're going for the Great Flood again. Like, they say that history repeats itself.
Right. Well, it sounds like we've actually, like, we're destroying the organs.
That's it.
That process everything in
exactly.
the body. Like, we're literally, like, cutting out our lungs and, like, you know, cutting off our intestines and, like, all those kind of things and expecting the body to work properly.
It makes me want to cry, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. But, I mean, things are changing pretty rapidly.
Well, it's going to have to, really.
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, like, I really, like, I appreciate that they're not calling it, well, that people are starting to change from calling it a climate change issue to a climate crisis.
Climate crisis.
Crisis, you know,
Anthropic climate crisis. You know, we create it.
Yeah.
It's because of us.
We're
our
responsible.
Excrement.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like when you make alcohol from yeast, you add sugar and water, and eventually the yeast, because it eats the sugar and it poops out alcohol. Eventually it poops out so much alcohol that it dies in its own excrement.
Interesting.
That's what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, plastic is a human excrement. You know, because we excrete it into the environment. You know, it's not coming out my ass, but it's coming from me. So it is my excrement or my waste product. Just like alcohol is a waste product of yeast.
Yeah.
It kills the yeast in the end.
Was there a mushroom that was known to eat plastic or eat oil or something?
Yeah, oyster mushrooms will eat oil.
Oyster mushrooms, petroleum oil.
Yeah,
Right.
There was a $2 million prize up for grabs for anyone that could figure out how to detoxify oil spills on soil. And a bunch of companies tried a bunch of different stuff, enzymes, bacteria, chemicals, and Paul Stamets oyster mushrooms were the only ones that actually not only cleansed the soil, but the plants started growing in the soil. Birds came back to the soil. Bugs got into the soil, and the mushrooms that grew were like 10 times the size of a normal oyster mushroom.
Wow.
And supposedly they were perfectly edible as well.
Really?
Because the oyster mushroom uses enzymes to convert the hydrocarbons of the petroleum into carbohydrate fungal sugars.
Crazy, dude. Mushrooms are intergalactic, beings.
Yeah.
Well,
the spore coat can tolerate a vacuum, and there's water on asteroids.
Totally. They're Martians. They're like alien species come here to do crazy shit.
So the directive of the Fungus Federation, it's a fungal research and development company aimed at studying fungal medicines and technologies. So fungal technologies being making mushroom leather out of waste cardboard.
Yeah.
Mushroom leather can be produced in 3 weeks. It's stronger than deer hide, which is the strongest leather that we can produce currently. How long does it take to grow a deer to get a hide? Like 2 years, 3 years? How much resources does it take to actually produce that animal? You could feed 12 people for a year off the same resources it takes to produce 1 cow.
Really?
That could feed 1 person for a year.
Yeah, totally. And then mushrooms just a lot less intensive. Like you can grow them anywhere.
They are classified as a keystone species because they are the only things that have the ability to unlock like tough minerals like lignin, chitin, cellulose. Like they, if you're walking through the forest and you see a weird little ring on a rock that's kind of greeny, yellowy, scratch it, see what happens. You'll find that it's soft and crumbly, but the rest of the rock is hard. That's a fungus.
Growing
that's
literally
in the rock, eating the rock.
Does he?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. I'll
look closer.
Check it out. Yeah.
I noticed it first in Australia because we went deep into the jungle to the banya tree, which starts off as a vine and then it's like the rata. It consumes a host tree, but then it turns into a giant fucking tree that's got all these lattices through it. You can climb up through the center of it. But then once it turns into a tree, it sends out these suckers, like I was saying with the mulberry, and it pops up all over the place. And so it captures the ecosystem and changes it. It's
it's mad, bro.
It's again the banya is a tree. It's a tree, the banya.
Yeah.
It's a keystone species. It turns from a vine into an overstory tree.
Wow.
Hey, you know how rata does the parasitizes trees, right?
Rata.
Yeah. New Zealand rata, northern rata. It strangles the tree and then it uses the trunk of the tree to form its own core, and then it becomes an overstory tree, right?
Yeah.
It grows above the canopy.
Wow.
The banya does that as well, but it's a suckering plant. It sends out all these underground roots that stick up branches and turn into big trees as well. It's one organism. It takes over the whole forest.
All right! I love the future!